Sometimes the most powerful tools are the simplest ones. Today, we're talking about something that looks like just another medical chart, but it's so much more than that. It's called the partogram, and it's basically a storyteller, telling the entire critical story of childbirth on one single page.
And that really is the big question, isn't it? How can one single sheet of paper have such a massive, life-saving impact? How does it guide doctors and midwives to one of the most intense moments in a person's life? Well, let's find out.
All right, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll talk about why this story even needs to be told in the first place. Then, we're going to decode the chart itself. We'll look at its built-in warning system, check in on the other key players in this story, and finally see how it all comes together to help make the right call at the right time.
So here's the thing about childbirth. Every single one is different. There's no single script. Things don't always go to plan, progress can slow down, and complications can pop up out of nowhere. Being able to spot those changes early is absolutely crucial, especially in places where resources are limited and every second really counts.
And that right there is where the partogram comes in. It's just a brilliantly simple idea. It takes all these individual data points, temperature, blood pressure, how far along the labor is, and it weaves them together into one clear, visual story. A story that anyone on the medical team can understand with just a single glance. And this is it. Now I know, at first glance, it might look a little intimidating with all the lines and grids and symbols, but trust me, we're going to break it down piece by piece. Just think of it like a map that guides the team through the journey of labor, showing them the expected route, and most importantly, warning them about any potential roadblocks ahead. Okay, let's start decoding this map. We're going to begin with the main plot, the absolute headline story on this entire page, the mother's progress towards delivery.
So zoom in with me on the central graph. On the side going up, you've got cervical dilation in centimeters, from 0 to 10, and along the bottom you've got time passing in hours. Every single X you see plotted there is a measurement taken at a specific time. You connect those X's and boom, you get the main story, a clear visual line showing exactly how fast labor is or isn't progressing.
Now, do you see those two big diagonal lines that cut right across the graph? Those aren't just there for decoration. They are the partogram's genius, built-in early warning system. Honestly, you can think of them as traffic lights for the entire medical team. And this is what makes it so brilliant. That first line is the alert line. It's the yellow light, basically saying, hey, let's pay closer attention here, things might be slowing down. The second line, 4 hours later, is the action line. That's the red light. If the labor progress crosses that line, it means it's time to stop and make a critical decision.
And creating this super important story is incredibly easy. It's a simple 3-step process you just repeat over time. You check the time, you measure the dilation, and you plot that point on the graph with an X. That's literally it. Observation by observation, you're building the curve of labor.
But hey, a good story is never just about one thing, right? It's got subplots. And beyond just dilation, the partogram tracks other crucial characters to give a complete picture, the baby's well-being and the mother's overall condition.
Okay, look at this section right here with all the little plotted dots. Each one of those is the baby's heart rate, measured every half hour. This is one of the best ways to know how the baby is handling the stress of labor. A nice, steady rhythm is great, but a big spike or a sudden drop can be the very first clue that the baby is in distress.
But the chart keeps layering in more information. We can see the strength of contractions in these shaded boxes. We see the mother's pulse and blood pressure. We even track the baby's descent down the birth canal with these little circles. Now, this is where it gets really powerful. See, a slow labor by itself is one thing, but a slow labor plus a dropping fetal heart rate? That tells a totally different, much more urgent story. And the partogram lets you see that connection instantly.
So this is it. This is the climax of the story. It's the moment when all this information, the main plot, all the subplots, comes together to help the medical team make a really critical decision.
So just watch what happens here. The patient's progress, shown by those X's, starts to flatten out, and it crosses the alert line. That is the visual alarm bell going off. If that line keeps going and actually hits the action line, it's not a suggestion anymore. It's a clear, objective signal that the team needs to intervene, whether that means helping labor along or preparing for something like a C-section.
And that simple visual cue is what makes the partogram so incredibly powerful. It takes the guesswork out of the equation. It replaces a feeling that something is wrong with cold, hard, objective data. It helps everyone make timely, consistent, and potentially life-saving decisions based on a picture that everybody can understand. And what's maybe the most incredible part of all of this? The power of this entire story, with all its complex data points on the mother, the baby, and the progress of labor, is all captured and communicated on just one single sheet of paper.
So, what's the big takeaway here? The partogram isn't just a chart. It's a globally recognized, brilliant piece of medical technology. It's a tool that makes childbirth safer simply by turning basic observations into a clear, visible story that demands action. It makes sure that no matter where you are in the world, the story of labor is one that can be read, understood, and acted on to save lives.